Yeah, we are here with Kat Brooks live. She's one of the event organizers. Kat, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us just how this escalated, how this kind of gotten out of control?
I don't think it is out of control. I think that what you're seeing is people express righteous rage at the fact that we've got this hateful bigot coming to speak in our state, and they're saying no, absolutely not.
Was this action planned? Was this planned to be a peaceful protest, or was this by any means necessary at this point?
We respect the diversity of tactics, right? We plan to lock down the streets and keep him out and stop him from speaking.
And by any diversity of tactics, you mean anything goes?
We mean that black and brown and poor people have a righteous rage, and they have a right to express it in the way that they need to, and to prevent this man from speaking in our state.
You just heard the organizer of the violent mob that set out with the explicit intention of shutting down the GOP convention in California. No actions were off the table. She said that they respect the diversity of tactics, and apparently they can justify doing whatever they want because they have a righteous rage and a right to shut down people who promote different politics than themselves. She has no problem with the fact that the crowd was beating up and spitting on Trump supporters for no reasons other than they support Trump. If we look at the definition of terrorism, it states that it means the use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. Were these people using violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims? Why, yes they were. Indeed, the lefties that want to shut down are low-level terrorists. And that is an indisputable fact at this point, unless one wants to rewrite the definitions in the dictionary. The day before the California GOP convention, where violent low-level terrorists broke through police barriers and bum-rushed the door attempting to break through, violent Hispanic hooligans outside a Trump rally in Costa Mesa beat up Trump supporters, threw rocks and bottles at police officers, destroyed and attempted to flip a police cruiser, as well as burning, vandalizing, and destroying other vehicles, blocking freeways and intersections, all while waving scores of giant Mexican flags. Again, the violent Mexican mobs also fit the dictionary definition of terrorism here. So, what does the Obama administration have to say about all this? Would they denounce the violent terrorists that are clearly anti-democracy, anti-free speech, and anti-American? No. When asked how the administration felt about the violent events in Costa Mesa, California, Obama's press secretary compared the violent low-level terrorists to our country's founding fathers.
About Donald Trump. Is the president concerned about the protesters now, again like last night, took the street, protest Donald Trump? That's the first question.
Well, Laura, I think in general there is a long history and a long tradition of protest in the American political system. In fact, this country was started by a bunch of protesters, some of whom decided that they were pretty unhappy about taxes and threw some barrels of tea in the Boston Harbor. So there's a history of protests in this country. What the president believes is that we also have a system of government, and there's an opportunity for voters to make their voices heard at the ballot box, and there should be a debate, and there should be a public debate, and that debate is likely to be filled with some emotion. These are serious issues that are being discussed. But so while people surely should take advantage of the history and tradition in this country of engaging in political protest, they need to do so with some respect for the system and for our country and for our government, and to ensure that protest isn't a source of violence and doesn't incite violence. The protest should not be used to drown out the ability of other people to participate in our political system or to participate in the political debate. But there's a strong history of protests in this country. That's a good thing. It's something we're proud of as Americans.
But in a presidential election outside the United States, the whole world now is watching with quite astonishment what's happening when Donald Trump is speaking. You don't think the president has a responsibility to do something about the potential of violence which is happening now each time Donald Trump is speaking?
Well, I'll just say, as a general statement, the president has been outspoken on a number of occasions about how our political system, our form of politics in the United States, was geared toward resolving conflicts. This is a big, diverse country, and people are going to have different points of view. And we resolve those differences not through violence, not by taking up arms against one another, not by questioning someone else's patriotism, or judging someone based on their religion or their color or who they are, but rather through our system of government, where every citizen has an opportunity to cast a vote and make their voices heard at the ballot box. And that's how our system of government was designed. And that's the way that it should work.
It is clear at this point that the Democrat Party has become the party of terrorism through violence and intimidation, and it's promoted directly at the highest levels. The Democrat Party is now the party of anti-free speech, anti-democracy, anti-gun, and anti-Americanism. The party of open borders, the embrace of Mexican nationalism and Mexican interests over our own, and the party of anti-white hatred. And this glorification of violence and intimidation to promote political aims is not just supported by the psychopathic base, which has been indoctrinated by academia and the media institutions, but this pro-violence, pro-terrorism stance against Americans for simply exercising the First Amendment right to peaceably assemble is supported and promoted by the Obama administration itself.
Feel like rushing over the barriers and heading towards the entrance of a convention is the right way to approach this, though?
I think that we should be interrupting the convention and making sure that Donald Trump does not take stage today.
Do you plan to keep protesting throughout the day as he comes in?
We're not going to let him in. So we will protest as long as we need to ensure that he doesn't make the stage.
Well, I think he is in, but
just take a look at her face when she realized that her plan to shut down Trump had failed. You really think that she's not going to come back next time with different tactics? Now, I predict that as the current low-level terrorist attacks of the left continue to fail from actually shutting down Trump, they will escalate the attacks using new tactics until they are increasingly violent, increasingly destructive. Remember, the left openly embraces and covers for radical Islam, and they share many of the same beliefs. For instance, they both believe that if they are put into a quote righteous rage by being offended, that they have the right to use a diversity of tactics to shut their opponent down. You will only see the violence of the left against innocent Americans escalate, and it will continue to be covered up and excused by Democrats. If you love America and love peace, and want to bring back law and order, and the right to attend a political rally without fear of violent mobs attacking oneself, vote for Donald Trump. There is no other option.